Let's go to Maddie in Omaha. What's up, Maddie?
Hi, Mr. Delony. Thank you for taking my call.
You got it. What's up?
Okay, if you don't mind, I wrote everything down because I didn't want to mess this up.
It's so good.
so
I
if
appreciate you doing that because I should probably do that more. All right, go for
I
it.
interrupt, you need to. So my mother and father-in-law have been married for over 50 years. They're in their 70s. If you ask anyone, they'd tell you that they're just the nicest people you'll ever meet, always smiling, working hard. They had 4 kids and now loads of grandkids. They just kind of appear to have it all. This, however, is not the same behind closed doors. I don't know the extent of it, but I fear that it gets pretty bad. And I don't want to be right, but I don't want to stir the pot if I'm wrong. Since marrying my husband 20 years ago, their son, my mother-in-law has tried to run away, driving several states away, even getting a different phone. She has also tried to end her life, but was found in time and taken to the hospital. Nobody outside of the immediate family knows about that. I overheard him yelling at her one time when he didn't know that I was in the house, and she was silent the entire time. And as soon as he saw me, he stopped. A couple years ago, I noticed she had bruising around her eye that she tried to cover up with makeup. And when I asked her about it, she gave a strange explanation, but I just thought, well, it must be possible, so I let it go. And then a couple weeks ago, they came over and I saw she had a huge bruise that was like a band around her arm right above her elbow. And it looked like she tried to cover it up with makeup. And I asked her about what happened, and she got really flustered as if she was like searching for an answer. And she just said she fell and that she bruises easily. But it didn't make sense because it was a band around her arm. My questions are, what if I'm wrong, and what if I'm not? And if I'm not wrong, but I say something and she doesn't want to do anything about it, they've been married for 50 years, that, like, I don't know the steps to take.
Yeah, thank you for being brave and writing all that out. It's hard to put down on paper because you look at it and all of a sudden your heart starts beating. Like, I got to do something, right?
Yes.
My big first question is, well, let me just say this: you have to do something. Okay, so that ship has sailed, and now we're going to figure out what that is. Your husband lived with this; he knows. Why is he avoidant or doesn't want to get involved?
I've brought it up several times, and I feel like they kind of try to keep everything seeming that perfect, happy life, even for their kids and grandkids. And so I think he just fears messing all that up.
So his mom's about to be dead.
Oh, right.
Like, so this little fear of, I just don't want to ruffle feathers. You're about to go to a funeral.
Right.
That was wholly preventable.
That's what I fear.
And so I look at these things, behavior as a language. So when somebody's running away, somebody thinks in their mind, I would rather not be here at all than be in this. That is somebody yelling as loud as they can, but without the words, help.
Right.
And I'm disappointed in their kids. And somebody's got to do something. Someone's got to step up somehow. Okay.
As far as 3 of their kids don't live anywhere near. So
yeah, but they know. They grew up in this house. This doesn't just happen.
That's what I wonder. But yeah, I don't know if things changed after everyone moved out, or.
Okay, let me ask you this: was your father-in-law rough on your husband growing up?
He was strict and ruled with an iron hand, but he wasn't that physically abusive. Like, my husband can point out one time that his dad did something.
What about has your husband ever told you about times he hit mom?
No, never. That's why it's confusing to me, is because I always thought, well, they would know something. But I mean, usually it was just a bunch of yelling, but he never really mentioned physical stuff, which is why I fear that maybe I'm wrong in reading into things.
So here's my philosophy as always. And my philosophy is very biased, because I've been on the other side of this and I've been wrong. So when it
Mhm.
comes to perceptions of abuse, it comes perceptions of suicidal ideation. I have made the choice in my life that I'm going to err on the side of asking too many questions and turning on too many lights than not doing enough.
Mhm.
Okay. That's just the choice I've made. You don't have to make that same choice. What I would do if I'm in your situation is I would tell my husband, I have seen bruises on under her eyes. I've seen bruises on her body that she's trying to cover up. And when I ask her about it, as a woman, I know she's not telling me the truth. I know she's covering for somebody.
Mhm.
And so I'm going to ask her directly, are you safe? And
Okay.
I would, do y'all live in the same town?
Yes, me and my husband live in the same town as them.
Okay. Um, I would take her to breakfast or I'd take her to lunch and I would say, I'm going to be very direct with you because I love you and I consider you a mom almost as close as my real mom. And I have a woman's intuition that you're not okay.
Mhm.
Tried to run away. You tried to die by suicide. You've got bruises when you come over to my house that you're covering up. Are you safe? Are you okay?
Okay.
And you are very, very right. She might say, I'm 50 years in. That's just him. If I just was quieter, then he wouldn't get so angry. That's how she's a grown up. She can make that choice. At some point, it becomes elder abuse. And I
Mhm.
know there's some different power hierarchies and yada, yada, yada. If somebody is unable to take care of themselves and they're being abused, I'm going to let somebody know. And at the end of
That's
the
what I
day, this might end with you calling the police. If you tell her, hey, the next time I see bruises on you, I'm calling somebody,
Okay.
right? And it might be
Right.
you call it for a welfare check and she lies to the police officer, she lies to the social worker, and she does that. But at least you will have sent a message to everybody involved is I'm watching and I love you seemingly more than anybody else in this sphere. And also be open to being completely wrong. Okay.
Okay.
She might tell you, no, I know how this looks and it's not what you think it is. Okay.
Mhm.
But your guts tell you something's up, don't they?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Um, here's
I don't know
here's
if bring other siblings into it or like I've spoken to my husband, but I haven't talked with any of his siblings
no, I
yet.
would make this a very personal woman to woman conversation.
Okay.
I've had conversations with grown men before where we've just gone out to lunch or gone to grab a drink or something. And I've said, hey, this isn't technically my business, but I'm choosing to insert myself into this.
Mhm.
If you talk to so and so again like that, we're going to have a problem. Or I'm not going to bring me and my kids and my family around this. I love you and I like being your friend. I like hanging out. You can't talk to women like that. Not in my presence, not in presence of my kids. And
Mhm.
if this goes down, she's welcome to come stay with me. You are not. I've had that conversation a few times and it hasn't been awkward because I had a relationship with these folks and I wasn't trying to like be like, yeah, bro, we're going to fight out in the park. And I had nothing to do with that. Just had to do with, hey, this is right. And I've had people do that for me, right? Like, hey, John, like what you're doing right now is not right. It's not who you want to be. It's not who you say you are. As our friend group, it's not who we've agreed we're going to be. This needs to stop now. Does that make sense? So I've had people reach out and tell me they love me in that way. And so that's all you're doing here. It's a private
Okay.
conversation.
And so if I have this discussion with her and she kind of just laughs it off because what I kind of picture her doing, like, is that pretty much that's all I could do and I back off?
No, I
Or
think you let her know. I understand this is scary, and if you've lived with this for a long, long time, I understand how big of a deal this is. I need you to hear me say, if I see bruises on you again, I'm going to call somebody.
okay.
If you want me to go with you to make a report, if you want me to go with you to sit down and tell your husband you're no longer allowed to hit me anymore, I'll go with you. Your husband, her son will come with us too. So it's the after. It's the I see what's going on here. I love you. I'm with you. And here's what I'm going to do next.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
All right. Yes, absolutely.
And she might not be able to tell you when it happens again. But she might show up. If she knows you're going to call, she might show up that very next morning after she gets hit the next time.
Mm-hmm.
And let you see that bruise. And that's her screaming help with words she doesn't know how to say. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
That phone call to the police is not he's beating her up, whatever. It is, hey, I've got concerns and I feel like I'm going to sleep better knowing that I made the call and that I reached out on behalf of somebody that I care about. My mother-in-law keeps coming to the house with bruises. I've been in the house where there's a rage screaming. I'm fearful that she's being abused. I've talked to her about it. She said, no, it's okay. Something's not right. I would like y'all to do a welfare check on her. That's how that goes. And that way, I'm not throwing grenades at him. This is purely on me. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm feeling. And my intuition says something frightening is going on. And by the way, let's remember this. Intuition is simply your body remembering what it has seen before. Have you seen this before?
Yes.
Yep. That's what intuition is.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it because I just felt lost. I felt like I was supposed to go with my husband, but when he kind of brushed it off, I didn't really know where to go from there. So
yeah, and it may be that he truly doesn't know. It may be that he didn't really take you seriously. He may know. Oh, Maddie, if we open this box, it's World War III. And I would continue to remember y'all are about to go to a funeral.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Is that cool?
It. Yes.
Thank you so much for caring and loving those in your community. And to everybody listening who's going like, oh my gosh, she needs to mind her own business, whatever. Look around. Look around. This is the culture we've got with that kind of attitude. If somebody thinks I'm beating up my wife, I hope to God they will step in front of me and call me on it. There's a great story that we did it's maybe 6 or 7 months ago. It was a great story where a guy was walking into a grocery store and was carrying his daughter over his back, and she was kicking and screaming and hollering, carrying him out of a store. And she was kicking and screaming, and a man walking into the store in the parking lot stopped and said, honey, are you okay? Are you safe? And she's like, no. Turns out, I don't remember what the exact, she wanted to buy something in the store and she threw a temper tantrum and dad's like, we're getting out of here. But that dad who was carrying his daughter out said, thank God somebody in the parking lot stopped and saw a screaming kid to make sure everything was okay. That's the community that we need with one another, man. We're not being involved. Not being involved, just putting our heads down and walking. It's not helping, man. It's not helping. And I don't want a whole bunch of people going to a funeral that they don't need to be going to. Step up. Step up. Have the hard conversation. Your community needs you.